Mass News.
Good morning, I'm Amanda Callahan. Here's your latest news update from Western Mass News. 2 people were taken to the hospital after a multi-car crash in Chicopee last night. According to police, that crash happened outside the Bullseye Lounge on Center Street around 8:30 p.m. Officials say the people who were brought to the hospital were not seriously hurt. No word yet on what caused the accident. An incarcerated woman who allegedly walked away from a minimum security Hampden County Sheriff's facility in Springfield is back in custody this morning. Officials say 21-year-old Kiara Grant walked away from the Western Mass Recovery and Wellness Center on Mill Street yesterday afternoon. Grant is currently serving a 9-month sentence for charges of assault and battery and destruction of property. At least a dozen people in Holyoke are without homes after a steam boiler unit set fire to their apartment building on Brookline Ave Tuesday night. The building currently sits without water, heating, and power in 12 units, and the fire may have done more damage than intended, as people living in that neighborhood might be experiencing brown water coming through their pipes.
All right, good morning, everybody. We are seeing a lot of sunshine around today. A cool start, not as chilly as yesterday, and a beautiful day is on the way today. We're going to have plenty of sunshine. Look at the readings. They're going to come up into the 60s as we go through the day today. We're going to be down in the 40s tonight, so not as chilly tomorrow. A little sun early for your Veterans Day. The clouds increase quickly. Showers, periods of rain in the afternoon. Rain will be heavy at times late tomorrow into Saturday morning as the remnants of Nicole move up the coast. Winds could gust about 35, 40 miles per hour briefly Friday night into Saturday. We'll dry it out quickly on Saturday, and it'll actually be a nice afternoon. Temps in the middle and upper 60s as the wind begins to diminish. Then we are cooler on Sunday. Just the chance of a spot shower. Much cooler as we go into next week. Have a great day.
Stay with Western Mass News on air, online, and on our app throughout the day for breaking news, weather, and